And as President Trump meeting with Norwegian's prime minister today to discuss trade and the war in Ukraine as Russia launches massive airstrikes again overnight in the country's capital of Kyiv, killing at least 8 innocent people. And yesterday, President Trump called on Ukrainian President Zelenskyy on Truth Social, called him out for hurting peace negotiations with his comments on Russian control of Crimea. Former NATO General Secretary and Norway's current Minister of Finance, Stoltenberg, will be at that meeting today, knows all about these negotiations, and the belligerent Russian government led by Vladimir Putin joins us now. Ms. Stoltenberg, great to see you. I know you're going to be with your sleeves rolled up, working on a trade deal in the Oval. I'll get to that. Your thoughts about where we're at in London today with these peace talks?
Brian, first of all, it's good to see you again. The peace talks in London are, of course, very important because it is an effort to try to find a peaceful solution to the brutal war in Ukraine. We all want this war to end, and the US, of course, wants the war to end. At the same time, we all know that the quickest way of ending a war is to lose a war. That will not bring peace. That will bring occupation. So we need to convince President Putin that he will not win on the battlefield and that he has to sit down and accept a lasting and just peace. And the only way to get there is to provide support to Ukraine so they can, the stronger they are on the battlefield, the stronger they will be at the negotiating table.
So we understand that according to something that's been framed out already, and I know you're not there, but I know you have great opinions on it, Russia would get occupation, they would get the regions of Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia and Oblast, and they would also get Crimea, and in turn, the Ukrainians would get Kharkiv back, which is theirs anyway. They would get navigation rights in the Dnipro River and assistance in war rebuilding, as well as a robust security guarantee from all countries except the U.S., set aside the rare earth deal. How does that deal sound to you? Because for Zelenskyy, it's a no-go because he does not want to give up any of those regions that were stolen from him by Russia.
I'm very careful going into details of a plan I haven't seen, but I think we all have to recognize that respect for borders is fundamental for any peaceful world. And at the end of the day, it has to be the Ukrainians that make the very hard and difficult decision about what kind of concessions, what kind of compromises they're willing to make to achieve a deal. But we don't only need a deal, because there have been agreements with Russia before. They agreed in 1994 to accept Ukraine's international borders in return for that Ukraine gave up all its nuclear weapons, and then a few years later they violated that deal. So we need also guarantees that the war really ends here, and therefore military support to strengthen Ukraine is a key part to secure that it actually stops here.
And we know if Russia doesn't move out of those territories, they could stay, perhaps, but you never give up the ownership if you're Ukraine, and there's verbiage for that. But I want to talk about what you're here for. You're talking about tariffs with the President of the United States. Our relations are great with your country. What is your investment in America, and what is your message to the President as you look to do a deal with him?
Well, the meeting in the White House today will not be a negotiating meeting, but we will, of course, discuss trade, the bilateral relationships between Norway and the United States. Norway is a small open economy. We have traded for many years, so we believe that trade actually promotes growth and prosperity. At the same time, Norway is actually investing a lot in the United States. Half of our sovereign wealth fund is invested in the United States, and that reflects a trust, a confidence in the American economy, which is important for the United States, but also for Norway.
You're heavily into our stock market by the tune of $2 trillion. This should be a good negotiation, and I know how well you and the President get along. So I predict smooth sailing today. I look forward to your joint session after as finance minister, too. Stoltenberg, thanks so much for coming on. We always enjoy it, and our audience loves you, so I appreciate it.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.